Hello everyone, my name is Nathan and today it's time for another episode of Oxygen Not Included. In the previous episode we have built our liquid oxygen/hydrogen production. As you can see, we already accumulated a whole bunch of liquid oxygen, which is absolutely perfect. This is the initial stage we want. We then have this hydro sensor that determines at 400 kilograms we do want to activate the pump. The pump should be able to reach at least this tile, though at the moment it says pump not in liquid. Okay, I get it. So the liquid oxygen can only store 500 kilograms per tile, not like water can store 1000 kilograms. Actually, really, at this point, it doesn't matter. I thought the pump was able to reach down, but obviously it needs to be submerged in liquid. So what we should have done is put the sensor on this. Oh man, that would have been so much better. So if we place the sensor right here, then we can activate the pump when the liquid actually reaches the sensor. At least you can now see we are essentially converting the oxygen at a 1-to-1 ratio. So all the new oxygen is directly being converted into liquid since we have already accumulated a lot. The problem with the hydrogen still, we need to get it to a temperature or to a state where we have a lot of the liquid already. Another thing I did is I went to the extreme with my temperatures with my supercoolant, so minus 218 degrees for the oxygen and minus 259 degrees for the hydrogen. And I thought, why the heck not? Oh, look at this. Okay, we actually managed to get a vacuum at some points. That means now the hydrogen can flow in. Yeah, there we go. Now we just received too much hydrogen. So I think what we have to do in order to fix that, I know an easy fix. We prevent the hydrogen from coming in for a little bit until we have accumulated enough liquid. So at the moment we have 31 kilograms of hydrogen per tile. That is still not enough liquid in order to reach the second tile if we assume that it's also going to be 500 kilograms. But yeah, I'm going to try that. I'm going to first convert all of this gas into liquid and then we enable the hydrogen line again. Another handy thing you let me know is that my space scanners here don't actually need to have visibility to my rockets in order to enable the bunker doors. So what we technically can do is deconstruct these bunker doors again. These can just be normal bunker tiles. And then we're going to hook an automation wire up to this space scanner, enabling these two bunker doors. They only really need to be opened once we want to launch the rocket, right? And then of course they need to be opened when a rocket returns. This probably means we can save a little bit on space, but there we go. Let's set up 4 scanners for my 4 rockets. So just to be sure I got the point across, they don't actually need to be able to scan. I'm just using them in order to be able to set something different in the filter. They have the same scan quality as my already existing scanners, but my existing scanners are detecting the meteor showers and I can only detect one thing. And since we have 4 rockets, I need 4 additional scanners that are dedicated to that. Okay, we just ran into a problem here with the oxygen. The problem is my liquid here at the moment is trapped at minus 180 degrees and that is slightly too high. It's going to vaporize immediately. I only want to pump out the liquid if we have a certain temperature. So if we placed a thermo sensor right here and then we are going to have an AND gate. Can I actually get this AND gate there? Yeah, beautiful. I could get an AND gate in right here. That will go there. I'm actually going to reload some of my save games here. Let's also say we are going to put the hydro sensor here on the top. And then if both of these conditions are true, we have a little bit of liquid oxygen and it is at a certain temperature. Then we're going to pump it up. I mean, it needs to be below the vaporization point. Okay, hold on. Do we even have to reload? I don't think we necessarily do. I mean, the repairs are not going to be too expensive, right? Okay, so I'm just going to wait and disable the pump. So let's say if it is below 1 kilogram, that should then permanently disable this pump and we just wait until all of the oxygen has left the room and then we should be able to enter through these 2 tiles. Actually, I'm just going to go ahead and do it right now. Okay, there we go. We now have access to the room, which means we're gonna get rid of some of the automation here. I'm not going to need that. I'm still gonna leave the switch so I can turn that on and off as I please. I'm gonna put my hydro sensor here on the top and then a thermo sensor on the right side. Very good. NOT gate is gone, so thermo sensor goes right there. We could then place the AND gate right there. LED, yeah, that's fine. hydro sensor goes into the first slot, and then the other one is gonna go right here with an automation bridge. Yeah, unfortunately, since we are exchanging a little bit of temperature now, we are gonna lose a little bit of liquid, but at least 500 kilograms here at the bottom should be saved. Okay, new setup is in place. The hydro sensor I'm gonna set to 200 kilograms, actually above, and then the thermo sensor to, let's say, minus 200 degrees. Now we will be doing the same thing on the other side here, so I need to poke a hole through that wall as well. Since we already have access to this room, what I would like to do is add an insulated pipe using insulation, and we're gonna exchange this pipe right here with insulation. So whatever packet remains in here, even if it is there for a long time, is never gonna break the pipe. So just this tiny little slot here needs to be insulation. This is also going to allow me to just shut the vent like this, and we don't really have to care about cutting the connections, you know. I did the exact same thing on the other side, mirrored, and now the temperature sensor needs to be something else, right? All the way up to minus 259 we can set this, but let's go a little bit lower. Let's say 255 should be enough of a safe margin. And only then we want to pump the liquid as well, with the condition of it being 200 kilograms. Time to close this off again, and hopefully we can get this started. No, there's a piece of insulation that we still need to pick up. That is too precious to just leave hanging, you know. It is now also time to cut the automation wire between our scanners and the rockets. I want to steer it using these scanners. So every time one of these scanners detects a rocket, we want to send the signal up and over. And also we need a NOT gate, because I'm assuming, just like with the meteor showers, it's gonna send a green signal once we detect the rocket. Hold on. Yeah, if it sends a green signal when it detects the rocket, then we want to open the door. So technically we don't need that NOT gate. If we're not using the rockets or they're not returning, I don't want this to be opened. Except, of course, if I launch a rocket, I want to be able to open this up manually. So let's go ahead and add a switch here as well. That's what I'm talking about. Now the gates are closing and the scanner gates are still open. Time to re-enable the system. Oxygen, hydrogen, you can come in again. So now we're actually waiting for the liquid to reach this tile here, and then it's gonna allow it to actually cool down the entirety of the liquid, because right now, well, I don't even know how it stays in liquid form at minus 180 degrees. But we need to get this cooler, that's for sure. You surely also noticed I rebuilt my rockets again with 5 research modules, because I want to make my way to the next stage of asteroids, which is gonna require 70,000 kilograms of fuel for that amount. So we can only hope for the best that this is actually gonna work now. Alright, we are back, and I have to admit, I reloaded a save game way back in order to restructure a couple of things. It took me even longer this time to get the machine started. However, now I think we have a solid build. So let me just introduce you to all the changes. The first change that you might notice is that we now have larger chambers, so they are now 4x5. Also at the bottom I have a metal tile, and through this metal tile we are leading the coolant now. However, I decided to put the coolant through a liquid reservoir. At the moment we're storing 40 kilograms of coolant in here, but that is helping me out to even out the temperatures within the loop itself. Same thing with the other liquid reservoir. In here we only have 30 kilograms accumulated, but it's still enough in order to even out the temperatures. Unfortunately, I did lose one packet. It happens. Now, as for the automation, this also changed completely. I now have my hydro sensor right here on the third tile. It is set to 1 kilogram above. So as soon as it detects a little bit of liquid, it is going to send a green signal. We then still have this AND gate connected to my thermo sensor. At the moment for the liquid oxygen, it is set to minus 190 degrees. If both of these conditions are true, the pump is gonna go for it, and we are pumping out at a decent temperature. It's going through my liquid reservoirs, and then thanks to the liquid valve, we are accumulating a little bit of it in the second reservoir. So right here, I already have 920 kilograms of liquid oxygen, which is absolutely phenomenal. And the cycle is just continuing. The problem with the piping system I encountered while having the pipes inside of this room is that sometimes the liquid would convert back into gases at the bottom, and then for some reason I lost some of it. Sometimes I had overpressure. It was just a freaking mess. So just setting down a couple of metal tiles and letting the coolness, the chill come from the bottom did the trick for me. Also, I added another row of temp shift plates, so now we have 3 temp shift plates here at the top and 3 at the bottom. Now the only thing I'm waiting for is the liquid hydrogen to accumulate enough, and I also already cut down on the petroleum. So this is the only petroleum at the moment we have left. And then I already took apart the other petroleum line, because I think it is now time to swap to the hydrogen engine. Why the heck not? So we're just gonna go ahead and deconstruct the petroleum one. Hydrogen engine, 500 steel, that's not too shabby, and it still fits in here, so this is perfect. Now, unfortunately, I have a little bit of petroleum in these tanks. But that also means I technically can get rid of these pipes here. The petroleum is just gonna vanish into thin air. So yeah, let me just go ahead and rebuild all of these liquid fuel tanks. Another change I should mention is I made the power transformer out of thermium as well. So I can just put it into my steam room here and I don't have to deal with cooling the hydrogen loop down. That was also messing with my system. In terms of thermium, you also gave me a tip that I can almost not believe, but within the rock crusher, we can actually use that recipe, thermium to niobium, and what we get is 50 kilograms of niobium per 100 kilograms of thermium. So that essentially means you can craft 100 kilograms of thermium using 5 kilograms of niobium, and then you get back 50 kilograms of niobium, but of course you lose all the tungsten in the process. But yeah, if you're in a hurry to get niobium, that's the way to go. Very good, we are at a critical state. By the way, I set these temperature sensors to -255 and I noticed that the temperature is always a little bit lower in the reservoir. So at the moment it's 260, which is a little bit low. So maybe let's go to -253 or 54. I think we're now more or less in the fine-tuning phase. Another and maybe better solution would be to add even more supercoolant to this liquid reservoir, because that would allow me to even out the temperatures much slower. And as a result, I would have the exact temperature I have set in here as well. But as it stands, with just a tiny bit of liquid in the reservoir, we get a little bit of a difference there. Also, so you've seen it, I want to show you the new loop. It's just going down, same thing here at the bottom. Now we are cooling down these tiles instead of anything in the room. It's then going directly into the liquid reservoir, then it's coming out, jumping back over and doing the loop over again. I thought about another change that we could do, and that is actually make the liquid that is in the reservoir go and do the cooling, and then the liquid that is coming out of the aqua tuner is first gonna go into the reservoir. That would be the better order, but as it stands, I haven't seen anything negative coming from that setup just yet. Yeah, check this out, 1,354 kilograms of liquid oxygen already in the tank. I would say the system is working. Now we just have to wait for the hydrogen to actually keep up. The liquid hydrogen is gonna have to go into the bottom 2 tanks right there. Now, do I want to make this out of insulation material? I only have 700 kilograms left, so that is probably a no. I mean, we will kind of have to observe it, but let's just do that and then go down here and then go straight and down here. We might also want to expand the gantries here. Once the rockets are filled up, we want to continue the loop and go over here and back into our liquid vent. I think that is a brilliant idea. Let's do the same thing here on the other side. Though we are going to have to add a bridge here in order to determine the flow. The problem about this setup is that once we have the rocket filled up, we don't necessarily want to use that loop anymore. However, because I'm introducing the loop with a liquid bridge, it is gonna have priority and all of my packets are gonna go through here, which is not a good thing. Oh, hold on, we could also go directly back into the liquid reservoir. I think that might even be better. However, that still doesn't solve my original problem. Yeah, I think what we might have to do is build up with a liquid shutoff, but the way I'm gonna do this, just temporarily, don't panic, but I'm just gonna cut the pipes and reconnect them for our first trip. Maybe soon enough we get some more iso resin in order to do the entire piping system with insulation. Now the same thing needs to happen for the liquid oxygen. That is just gonna go here and then it's gonna cycle back into my tank. And of course also here we want to cut this off until we actually want to fill up the tanks. In order to reach 70,000 kilometers, the website says we need 926 kilograms of hydrogen and liquid oxygen. We can store 2,700 kilograms actually. Yeah, the hydrogen actually takes up less space from the looks of it. So that doesn't make sense. 926 kilograms. Okay, great. And look at that. Within one tile there is much more space than just 500 kilogram of hydrogen. So even though the liquid oxygen seems to be taking up more space, we cannot input more into the tanks. I guess they are built a little bit differently. Wow, okay, I have to admit, this is losing heat or chill really quickly. This is actually insane. Can I place another insulated pipe? I should do that. I only have the materials for one insulated pipe. And there we go. Now with the insulation, not losing any temperature at all. I just love this. The problem with the hydrogen at the moment seems to be, even though we are 3 degrees below the requirements, we are not liquefying it yet. Maybe it has something to do with the amount of hydrogen we already have in this place. Alright, it is now quite a few cycles later and we still haven't filled up the entirety of the tank. However, we've gotten rid of the problem that we have an awful lot of hydrogen that hasn't been converted. You can see within one tile we can actually store 1,000 kilograms of hydrogen, so that's just the case. It's gonna take a little bit longer in order to fill this up and get this running. But at least we're almost there. We already collected 2,500 kilograms of liquid oxygen, and now it's just about the hydrogen and then we can get our rocket started. Maybe to celebrate everything, we are now going to fill up the rockets already. So we want to fill up both of these rockets. Actually, let's maybe only do the first rocket for the time being. So we want to fill this up and then everything that is an overflow is going to go back into the system. Yeah, I wonder if we are going to sustain some damage. But I think as soon as we are within the tank, we should be golden. There shouldn't be any more accidents after that. There we go. The rocket has been completely filled up. And oh no, I cannot. Are you serious? You're not gonna continue the cycle? Sometimes these mechanics are so frustrating. Why would you not continue at this point? Maybe we cut this connection? Okay, so we definitely have to find a more elegant solution to fill this up. Alrighty, we are back, and as you can see, I finally got my liquid reservoir full of hydrogen. It did take me a really long time, I have to admit, but I have the feeling it's gonna be worth it. In the liquid reservoir, I stored about 2,500 kilograms, and we already have almost 5,000 kilograms of the oxygen. So why don't we go ahead and actually start filling this up? Now, in order to fill up my rocket, we are gonna cut this connection for the time being, and as I said, what I'm doing here, this is all temporary. Then in the end, of course, we want to automate this. But for now, we are just gonna bridge over like so, and then it's gonna do a little loop. It's coming back and going through the valve. So if we get this bridge built, I'm actually happy. Oh, thinking about it, we could send 2 rockets. Why the heck not? I mean, we should technically have the materials for it. So let's reconnect this and then maybe reconnect this here as well. So what we can do is go ahead and send some of this over. Yeah, that's actually great. And we also have the hydrogen going over. Now, this is going to lose a lot of heat very quickly. As long as it's not dropping below 252, I'm actually happy. So I made sure we have a little bit of a safe margin with 257 or so degrees before it's pumped up. That's interesting. What happened here? Of course, I can only store 26 kilograms in this tank. Okay, so we have to fill up the bottom tank with most of the fuel. But as we can see here, that's working too. Phenomenal. I was really looking forward to that moment, guys. Yeah, this temperature sensor is really important. I now have this set to minus 257, and therefore, even though we have enough liquid, my pump is not pumping. I love this. Okay, there we go. We're done. Everything has been filled up. I'm gonna cut this loop. Hold on. I also have to prevent new stuff from coming through. Yeah, I'm really open to suggestions on how to actually do that. Maybe we're just gonna use some insulation and then a liquid shutoff. That might be the easiest. Actually, that might totally be the easiest. Thinking about it, we should be able to craft a little bit more insulation material. Yeah, we have 710 kilograms of iso resin. What was I thinking? Let's do 20 crafts of insulation. Sure thing. This is so horrible. Now I'm already getting heat down. I just hate this. I just freaking hate this. Come on. Just leave me alone. But let's add a liquid shutoff so we can shut this off whenever we want, and then all of these pipes need to be insulation. Only that way it's gonna work. So if we don't have this open, then we want the material to just continue. So technically only this pipe, and this one here needs to be insulation. Every other pipe can be a normal insulated pipe. We're gonna do the same thing on the other side, liquid shut off. It's then gonna continue here and it will be coming up here at the bottom. So we don't need that, and we are gonna need 3 insulated pipes with insulation, of course. So 1, 2, and the third one, I guess. Actually, we only need 2, really. Those are the only 2 slots we will have liquid trapped. Otherwise, we should be fine. We're also gonna connect both of these with a switch that I can steer myself, so we can fill up the rockets whenever we need to. Insulation, okay, I think we completed the first loop here. Okay, that means I wanna shut off the shut off. And then we wanna combine these. Don't build a new pipe. Okay. And then all of these pockets should be okay. They should just be there and don't complain about anything. Once we want to fill up the rocket, we can enable the switch. It's going to fill up the rocket. All the extra packets are going to continue and they should be going back into the system. And now I can steer everything without getting overly mad. So all we're missing is one tiny insulated pipe right here, and we can do the same thing for the hydrogen system. I'm going to call these Explorer 1 and 2s. And what we want to do is reach the 70 kilometers mark. So if we just check this out, yeah, we can actually go there, which is perfect. So all we really need is an astronaut. I'm also gonna give Explorer 2 an astronaut. Max, you can do that. So Bubbles and Max are gonna be our heroes. Explorer 1 is ready to go. Let's go ahead and open up the doors. Hold your horses. Oh no! Are you serious? There's little tiny automation wire. Okay, now my astronauts have to sit for a little bit. There we go. Now I can actually open up the bunker doors, which is great. A little bit of regolith is gonna fall, but I think I can still start my rockets. Explorer 1, please. I want you to go to this body. Yes, launch mission. We're gonna observe that first. Ooh, okay, now that's gonna be interesting. I actually managed to melt down some stuff. Hopefully nothing important is gonna melt down this way. I haven't thought about stuff being able to melt. Okay, ooh, wow, look at this. Oh, finally we can reinstate our petroleum generator here. That's gonna be great, though I forgot to retract the gantry. What you gonna do? Of course, my automation wire actually has melted. I guess at this point we can wrap up the episode. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna let my other pilot leave just for a second. So that will be Max, you can go, and then we are gonna launch this another time once we have fixed the automation wire here. But yeah, I would say with that out of the way, we have successfully fixed this machine and actually made it useful. Now oh, wait. I don't want this to be opened. We want to close this. And I guess to make it complete, we also need the bridge that's actually going up from the last reservoir. So then it's going up here. It's just gonna wait. When I enable it, it's gonna do the loop, filling up everything and then being dumped back into the chamber directly in order to be cooled down again. Eventually, we might exchange this entire loop with iso resin. Then we don't even have to use the liquid shutoff. We can just let it flow. Cool, with that out of the way, thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Have a great time and see you soon. Bye-bye.